Right. We have seen the outer sands. There's a few bits left to do. Before we do them though, I need to go and drop off some dust. This is the wrong way. I always get confused by this road. We'll take this way in a minute. First though, I need to go up here. So if I had to sum up the Outer Sands stories, they are, more directly than any of the others, stories about homes, right? Lochwat Skelligan most obviously, but also the Orb City that has the AI that's running wild and trying to kind of impose expansionist capitalism. And those two are an important juxtaposition. They're in the same area for a reason. Basically what's going on there is the Lochwat Skelligan story, thanks to my friend Sari for stating this most clearly. What's going on there is that the build-up of dust is kind of just a natural outcome of people living together and kind of the ways our minds work. I don't think there's anything particularly pathological about the worries that seem to be producing the dust in that sequence, versus the Orb City, which is kind of obviously pathological as an environment and has this corruption at its heart, but it's got nothing to do with dust, and they explicitly say there's no dust there. So there's kind of two different images of the problems with homes. One of which says the problem is the dust, but the problem is not actually the dust, and the dust isn't a problem. And the other of which, there is a problem, but there's no dust. And then there's also the apartment complex story, which, quite apart from its kind of individually fucking me up really badly, that's fundamentally a story about kind of home and family and I mean, it's also a microcosm of the game, but it's important that it's a microcosm of the game that is built around the idea of kind of feelings of home and a person's relationship to the space of their home, the environment that they live in. Anyway, here's kind of where things get structurally weird. So in a way what we're doing here is we're going back to something more like Anodyne 1, and I've said repeatedly that I don't know much about Anodyne 1 really. This is the Nexus. It'd be very familiar to Anodyne 1 players. There's a character here called Time.
Oh, the cleaner has finally arrived. What on earth could they possibly have been up to all this time? I've been waiting for approximately 4 hours, 55 minutes and 28 seconds for them to get here. Ah well, probably just left the app running or something.
I mean, I might have done a bit, but this is definitely the quickest I've got to this point.
Greetings, Nova. I am Time, the town deacon. You have been summoned here because the dust has spread throughout New Theland. The dust, it is a fearsome substance which feeds upon the minds and bodies of the infected, corrupting the true nature of the center's designs until only misery and evil remain. Geez, barely a response. What's wrong with this kid? First she comes late, and now... Anyhow, it is your sacred duty as the center's own Pico Cleaner to travel the length and breadth of New Theland, finding those infected and shrinking inside of them to clean the dust. To do this, I grant you the Nanospark. Press B to use it and spark connections with those in need. When you chunk into Pico scale, you may use it to fight enemies. Well, go on, get on with it. Up! You need to go up! My oratorial expertise is completely lost on this one.
The town deacon in name only, for they are neither. Presumably neither town nor deacon. Destination, out of town's west, the shore. So that's the way back to the shore. And there's another way in that direction which we'll get to. If this portal is inactive, seek another entrance to the Nexus within a higher dimension. So there are... this is where we were before, by the way. This goes to the Orb City. And that says the same as the other one. So what's going on here is we've now unlocked the ability to shrink from nanoscale, which we're currently in, down to picoscale. And we've been told the same story, but these worlds correspond to it even less than previous environments. So this is Pastel Horizon, the northern shore of the Pastel Horizon. We have a map. It does tell us where we are. Let's say, only the one with the vacuum can use its suction to swiftly sail through the Pastel Horizon. My thumb is going to get extremely sore doing this. But we have a bunch of stuff to get. We also need to make sure we pick up some dust. Oops. Ah, this is maddening. No, I blew it. These rooms are quite unforgiving. If memory serves, that's because they're actually optional. Ouch. Fortunately, I don't have to go back the way I came. Next place I need to go is this way. Rings the bell to summon a raft. Cherry says, the Pastel Horizon grows pink, a rare natural beauty. This sakura grows from its water. It's been here forever. I watch over it. You can use a raft, can't you? There was a man. He would pace the shore, staring into the water. Oddly, he'd do this every day. I asked why he came so often. He just said, please don't worry. People have their reasons, so I left it at that. But one day, he stopped coming. No one stays here forever. Couples stroll the shore, children swim, some stare into the horizon, some come to cry. But something was different about this man's absence. Many of us are unable to use rafts. We can only wonder what's beyond the sea, though we know the petals of this tree hold a power. They can guide us to the lost. And more, the petals seem to be leading to something. And then she repeats, because she's divulged the information that we actually need, which is follow the petals. Before we do that, though, we need to dispense with this key. Oops. Oops. I think. Oops. Historically, this... Oh, go away. A chorus of voices cries from the calm sea waves. Nova ignores the sound and tries to move onwards, but suddenly Nova feels a strong wind grasp her and her perception fades. We arrive here. You heard voices while sailing? Probably the darn wild ghosts again. They'll swarm and interfere with us living beings. Ugh, wild ghosts, pitiful. There's no way to stop them from coming for good, but if you turn on the poison machine, it'll drive them away for a while. It feels a potential connection with their nanospark from the poison machine. It's a shame we don't have to do this to our ocean, but what can be done about the wild ghosts? Like waves, they keep coming. It's just the world we live in. There we go. So this is our first experience of picoscale. Oh wait, that's right. I can just shoot these. I don't have to pull them out of the way. So obviously, picoscale is same deal, but beep beep. Ocean poisoning routine on. Releasing liquid crowd dispersal of the chemical. Releasing water soluble riot suppression formula. Done. So we are clearing out the ghosts by suppressing a riot. Pastel Horizon is a kind of afterlife or a stage on the way to the afterlife. More on that in a bit. I often get stuck here. Homecoming Isle. There feels a presence inside these fish bones. An opportunity for connection with the nanospark. It's also, like, very, very similar to an area within within Adadine 1. Oops. Grabbing all the dust I can because I think we really do need to see both endings of the game, and one of them requires us to gather a lot of dust. Amigo says, "For years I lived as a human, leaving my life behind as a fish. The opportunity of a life on land was tempting. But what did I leave behind? When I returned to the ocean, my mother, my schoolmates, my siblings were all gone. Time passed so fast. How easy it was to forget my origins, the place that spawned me. All I can hope for now is peaceful passage into the afterlife. Yes, yes, thank you for finding me here." So that's who we were here to talk to. I just want to check something. Nothing particularly special there. But what we're going to find with the ghosts of the Pastel Horizon is that they are ghosts struggling with having left homes behind and being strays, roughly. And we go, "I lived between two worlds, how tragic, and yet I must not wallow in my individual sadness. Many of us live between two worlds. Why are we forced to do so? What controls the Pastel Horizon and delineates the ways of living?" Oops. So that's one of the things I need to do here. one sort of disadvantage of knowing what I'm doing now is I'm not exploring as thoroughly as I otherwise might. Where do I need to go? I need to go down this way. And this is a sneaky bit, which I know Marina and Sean were talking about maybe patching, is this side passage just along here. It is an optional area, you don't have to come this way. Or do you? Hang on, no, maybe you do. Yes, you do, because you have to talk to that cat. But not yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. Windworn Cove, it says. Ouch. And there is 10 metacoins, which we don't care about at all. Oh, I cannot remember how to get to the chest on the other side. Need to do it. First, I think I have to go, whoops, to this island. Which is Sisterhood Island. Kanji says, I saw you coming in from the north. You know how to raft, don't you? That's a blessing indeed. You and that raft. One of us, Fukuchi, left the island a few days ago. She'd always be the one proposing plans to leave. She remembered the most from her past life. Astonishing inventions, new modes of travel, unbelievable stuff. Maybe she kept trying to leave because she knew what she was missing. My past life is a blur. Flashes of colours, sounds, senses. Might be better that way, yeah? No longing to leave. Just me and the friends. I'm happy to stay here, counting the days. Being accountable to each other isn't so bad. I'd forgotten that last line, that being accountable to each other line. That's quite important, I think. Kochi says, hey, don't pity me. It's our fate to spend our days on this island. We've tried to leave before, of course, but each time the Pastel Horizon conspired to return us here, so we haven't tried since. Better off just living in safety. Fukuchi always tried leaving, and look what happened to her. Poor Fukuchi. Not so lucky after all. Kuruchi says, and yes, that's enough supplies for all of us. Huh. No, we won't be selling any of these. We make them for ourselves. How would we find anyone to sell them to? Haha, to you? A wandering presence? Money's no good on this island. There's no particular reward for activating all the warps. Yakuchi says, it's usually around this time that Fukuchi comes by with the day's harvest. I keep waiting here, expecting her to show up, but she's gone. If Fukuchi's gone, that leaves me to prepare the food. I'm not as good, but I'll do my best. For years I've stared at ingredients, longing to have the skill to turn them into something delicious, but it's never happened. It's rare to see a young face in these parts. No, I don't expect you to do anything for us. We're perfectly fine, yeah? No worries. If we weren't fine, we'd be skeletons. Oh, don't be so serious. And last one. Takechi. Oh ho, that look in your eyes. You're looking for something, aren't you? Fukuchi had that look too, and now she's gone. If you're looking for something, maybe you could find our Fukuchi and bring her back here. Well, maybe she doesn't want to return. At least show her this. She had lofty goals, but whatever she did, she would want to see this one last time. We got Fukuchi's shell. Oh, it's the same. It's not the same dialogue. I apologise. We have to take the shell to Fukuchi. which we need to go to the cat.
Grr.
Never feels the potential for connection with the vicious beast and her nanospark. In we go. Oops. Whoops. Oops. Here we go. That shell! Wonderful! To be able to see it one last time. Ah, I can feel the other women of the island. I miss them. They must be worried. They must want me to return. One day I found out I had a previous life, from before the day I awoke on that island. I remembered scraps at first, but eventually it became impossible to forget. Now, my body is gone, drowned, disintegrating on the seabed. If I had convinced the others to leave, things may have ended differently. Either way, somehow you found me, in this strange place. You, a living being, found me. Now, if I can find my way onto the afterlife. But with how this world works, I may not be able to connect with my friends ever again. Whether I blame myself for leaving, or some greater force for putting me on that island, it makes no difference. The system makes no exceptions. Living on that island, I remembered airplanes, trains, cars, cities, farms, wars. What would it be like to live out my life with things like that? I had to find out. I had to leave. I had to experience something more than the island. Ah well, at the very least, I tried. Well, goodbye. Never found another card. This time it is Fukuchi. My mother used to tell a story about me as a child. No matter which toy I had, I would always reach for a different one. I was always afraid to miss out. What can I say? I want everything, and maybe one day that will lead to nothingness. It's the price I pay. And indeed, it has led to nothingness. Right. Only a couple more things to do here. One of which will kind of explicitly explain the setting, and the other is getting that dang second key. For which I think I go this way. Oops. Oh. Come here! There we go. Down the whirlpool. Ouch. There we go. And here we have the second key. Which we need to go this way with. This is just making sure I've got as much health as possible for the final boss, because I'm bad at it. Oh, wrong. Wrong island. Look over here. Oops. A message is inside. I found it first. Finally, something that's rightfully mine. I'll be able to live longer. God damn it. It's mine. It's mine. I can still live. I can save myself. Nova feels the potential for connection from this moment with him and I spoke. Give me my damn treasure. Whoops. Oh, come on. Having problems with my aim. There we go. A frail man clutches what looks like a health enhancement patch. His breathing is shallow. Nova hesitantly slips the patch out of his hands, applying it to herself. Her maximum health has increased. Mine, mine, mine. And he's gone. And now, here we are. Just activate that one. Character says, "What are you doing? Hurry up now, don't keep these people waiting any longer." So, board the train. All aboard, all aboard. Next stop, Ghost Bridge. The train rumbles down the tracks, onto the water, and across the surface of the Pastel horizon. You there, with the vacuum, still living? Ah, I see. Yes, you can get off here, just don't stay too long. If you take the train before doing all the other stuff I've done, you can't come to this location. And we have to come here because there's cards. It's the bridge builder. What do I do now that the bridge is complete? Haha, a ghost bridge is never complete. I build as a way of living, knowing that perhaps the work explains beyond my life. Fisherman's ghost. Snuffed out, my life disappeared in a flash. Tiptoeing through the afterlife, I gaze not in rage of my murderer, but with the hope of abolishing violence's roots. Deep in the city outskirts, down a long road, in a building for the elderly, alone in total silence, I saw the fog descend on the autumn forest. Nothing matters, nothing matters, nothing matters. I'm so inferior, pathetic, worthless, worthless. I destroyed him, and then I destroyed myself. Pathetic. That was all I was good for. What if a person dies under unusual circumstances? No family, chosen or birth, no one to remember their name? Or they had their emotions twisted, poisoned by those profiting off their despair, setting them down a road of self-destruction and isolation, having bought into simple answers to complex problems. Or if they were plagued by a poor hand, doomed to be crushed under the heel of an uncaring system, slipping through the cracks, dying alone, forgotten. Or they faded away, alone, their whereabouts unknown. When that happens, they will wander the pastel horizon, lost in their thoughts. Without the prayers of earthly connections able to reach them, they become wild ghosts. Someone needs to take care of them. This bridge, a ghost bridge, guides these wild ghosts to a place where they can find healing and community. I've been working forever. I can imagine a world where I retire, but until that happens, I will remain here to do my work. Haha, you wish to cross the bridge? Novi, you are no wild ghost. You have some purpose, some kind of support. Finish it, whatever it may be. Value your connections, Nova. When you die, it would be sad to meet you here. There we go. Endless, endless horizon. That pink colour. Fukuchi, I'm sorry I couldn't stay with you all. That I'm at the bottom of the ocean. In the end, I'm okay, I think. I don't judge the dead, I just transport them. Train's ready to leave when you are. And off we go. Just a couple of loose ends to tie up.